I'm hitting the button.
No, don't hit the button!
I just did. There's no turning back now. Not only did I just hit the button, it's also tweeted out. And with that, it is go time. Welcome, everybody, to the A3K podcast, powered by the fine folks at anime3000.com. Like me, David Majors. I am your host this evening. You can call me DJM, and please, if you're out there watching live on the YouTubes, please go ahead and hashtag it out using the hashtag A3K106. Also, big shout out to the love of my life, Jackie Hearn, and everybody out there watching on chat room at diamondclub.tv. Now, this week joining us is the one and only Frank E.A.W. Brawler Maxwell IV. What's going on, A.W.? A.W.
That just happened.
Ennis. It most certainly did. Live internet, everybody. But that voice you just heard is none other than the gentleman with the fantastic Philip J. Fry avatar, Dean the Adequate, a.k.a. Christopher Kinsey, writer and contributor for Anime3000.com. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Now, one more time, we're going to give this another try. We're going to try this one more time. Frank E. Maxwell, A.W. Brawler. A-Dub.
Don't fizzle out, A.W. You're my favorite beverage.
Well, it looks as though playing the role of Jack with the questionable internet this evening is A.W. Brawler. But in fact, Jack D. Tyler D. is here going full-on Miles Edgeworth with that ascot, though. What's going on, Jay Quellen? What's happening?
Oh, snap. Oh, gosh.
Oh, my goodness.
That was
A.W. A.W. Brawler.
A-Dub?
And this was all going well in the pre-show, but you guys know how it is. It's live internet. It happens. There's really nothing we can do.
I'm hoping just everything's frozen on my screen.
A-W? More like A-Dub step. He got wubbed down.
Anyway, while we're waiting on Frank to come back in, let's just jump in to the first part of the show. What have you guys been watching, playing, whatevering lately? Chris, what have you been dotting lately?
Well, I gotta say, I had picked up at the local library the first volume of Assassination Classroom when it came to some reading material, and I've been steadily going at that. That's what I've been chiseling away on, at least in the manga and anime world. But mostly what I've been doing is I have Animal Crossing New Leaf, and until my house is complete, that's what I do, is Animal Crossing New Leaf, with short interspaced periods of Super Smash Bros. 3DS. So, yeah, that's my life in a nutshell. Also, the biggest thing in my life is I really enjoy tabletop role-playing games, and I got my copies of 5th edition, so I usually run these games as a dungeon master. I've been just hammering away, making my own world, as it were. So, yes, lots of creativity, at least.
Now, I would love to ask you about this, because I just watched a YouTube video about Spoonie, the Spoonie one, talking about why there are no more lawful goods anymore. Why do you think that is? Like, nobody wants to be a lawful good anymore.
Here is the problem. The Dungeons & Dragons as a game had a straitjacketing system from the get-go. It kind of forced everyone to be a certain way. You know, that's why you had these axioms, and you see the memes all the time. It tells you chaotic good, who's going to be this and that anime, who's going to be this and that television show, who are these alignments. It's a good rule of thumb, but people can't be straitjacketed into just, you know, good, evil, chaotic, or lawful. The real problem came from the fact that no one could ever be lawful good. No one can. It's like supposed to be like you're Jesus plus one. that's the guidelines of being lawful good for the most part. People always like to, you know, give little thought processes, that sort of thing towards it. But when it comes to Spoonie's opinion on that, you know, he and I have never really seen eye to eye on a lot of things because
I will say that he did bring up an interesting point about that, and that was Superman. I thought that was kind of interesting. I was like, okay, Superman. I get it. I think when it comes to lawful good, you could be Superman. I mean, hey, everybody likes Superman until he's not lawful good, and then everybody loses their minds.
Exactly.
So,
Oh, go ahead.
go. And I was saying, okay, I definitely understand where he was coming from on that one.
Oh, you back? Do I see him?
I wanted to say something real quick. I just wanted to say
Jack, go ahead.
we didn't talk to this guy very much before the pre-show. He just kind of went, well, put on my thumbs. But I gotta say, all this dotting, man, why don't we have this guy on the show all the time?
I know. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to get everybody from the A3K network, everybody. Now, Jack, what have you been dotting?
Do you really want to know the answer to that question, David Majors?
Jack, of course I do.
I've been playing the PS Vita RPG Criminal Girls, invite only.
Go on.
This is a game where you are a correctional officer, and you are, of course, male, and you are surrounded by 7 girls who each stand for a cardinal sin, and in order to level them up, you have to whip them, to pour water on them, a la Chinese torture, and you have to tickle them, and other things like that. It's heavily censored for the American release, but I got into it, one, because it seemed like an interesting battle system. You pick from 4 random skills from each of the girls, so you have 4 randomly selected. Then you can also use an item or switch someone else out. So it was unique on that front. Also, I enjoyed the character art, and as somebody who realizes that my bread's got to be buttered by somebody, I knew I would eventually probably have to cosplay something very niche and waifu-esque, so I decided I would do some research for it. And I just got swept up into it because a lot of the characters, particularly Alice, Kisaragi, they're not stable, but they have meaning and sense to what they're doing. I mean, Kisaragi's greedy, so you have things like that going on. So thus continues my terrible, terrible habit of playing games that are completely outside my demographics, such as Senran Kagura, Disgaea. Never mind about Disgaea.
Now, Jack, I'm not going to let you get away here. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. You mentioned the 7 deadly sins. I'm dying to know. Exactly what are they doing with the character for something like Sloth?
That's interesting, actually. They're a pair of twin girls, and they have hair.
Go on.
Cat ears. They have hair that resembles cat ears. So
go on.
I find them insufferable. But the one who works the hardest wants to actually just leave everything alone, and the other is Envy because she envies how strong her sister is. So they actually put thought into the characters, and I believe one of them is not just pride, but they're actually representing heresy, which was something that was evident in Dante's Inferno. And there's a lot of references, actually well-written references to Dante's Inferno, so I'm actually really happy with it. They did a decent job. It wasn't just, abandon all hope ye who enter here. I mean, they do reference that, but if there's no reason to reference that, besides just referencing it because you have a story that takes place in hell, I'm going to get mad. But they put a lot of thought into it. There's frozen sections of hell, there's burning sections, there's forest. It's very unique.
Now, that all sounds actually really, really interesting, and I'm halfway tempted to ask you about Lust, but I want to get AW in here before his internet dies on us again. AW, what have you been dotting, sir? What have you got going on?
Well, what I've got going on is something that's been 16 years in the making. I have been avoiding spoilers for so long, rented it, played the first dungeon, didn't do the rest. So I'm running through this for the first time ever.
That is...
And I'm loving it so far.
Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
Very nice
The only console Zelda I've not beaten. And so far I'm loving it.
Very proud of you, sir. I'll have such great
awesome
taste
choice. Maybe one of these days when I get a Nintendo system, I might do that myself one day. I've not had a single Nintendo system since the original NES. Not a one.
You know, I'm in the same boat. I was a Sega kid and a computer
Yes! Yes!
kid, and the kicker for me
Yes!
was I got a Wii. That was good.
You played the Mario.
Oh yeah, everyone played Mario. I mean, yeah, I didn't have a Nintendo, but I played Mario because your friends have Nintendo. Everyone had Nintendo.
Right. But I had a
Yeah,
Sega.
we had,
No.
we had every console in my house, including the TurboGrafx 16. That people probably
TurboGrafx?
Wow,
Wait,
8W.
wait. Here's the real test. Did you have a Neo Geo?
Yes.
You son of a
Expensive as heck.
God! What are you... Is the AW Brawler household made of money? Jesus! Because the Neo Geo costs like it costs $800.
$800 in
I
90s
question that
money.
I love Neo Geo games so much.
What really rolling in money, but at the time, without telling about my family, my mother did have a rather well job at the time, so I guess that's how we afforded it.
Okay, well, in that case, fantastic. Good for you, AW. And good for all of you for tuning in. And you know what I'd really like? And you know what Sean Russell, the executive producer and founder of Anime 3000, would like? He'd like emails. Good, bad, or indifferent. If you're enjoying this show, if you hate it, if you can't stand me, if you want to ask, where the hell is Cody? Where's Cody? But don't worry, guys, I'm bringing Cody back. But in the meantime, send us an email. Go to anime3000.com, click the contact link, send us an email. Sean Russell will send it over to me, and we will read it right here, live on the interwebs. And when Cody is on again, we'll read them all, and he can answer all of your queries, and you'll get all of the Cody Buyer wisdom. And he is coming back soon, I promise. I promise you that, guys. I promise. So just... calm down. Calm down. But let's just jump right into the news. First story of the day. This is David going full-on old man anime once again, because that's me. I am one of the old men of the A3K network. First story comes to us from ANN, which apparently, as we're recording this live, is down, which is awesome. But even better, because, you know, live internet, what can you do? Golgo 13, the long-running manga starring Duke Togo, the assassin, shooter, womanizer, and all-around badass, legendary god of awesome, is reaching its conclusion. The legend, Golgo 13, is getting too old for this shit. Golgo 13 has been going around in manga form since 1968 in various TV shows, AMVs, all of these things have been going on since then. Golgo 13, the professional. And it is arguably in possibly the longest running manga in history. Chris, hearing this, were you ever into Golgo 13, and what do you think?
You know, you bring up Spoonie and you bring up all this. The fondest memory of me is Golgo 13, the professional, the one brought out by US Manga Corps back in the day.
Yeah.
That was one of the first reviews of anime I ever really did for anyone. You just brought up Spoonie. I actually did reviews on the Spoonie experiment back in the day. You can even get to the.
Nice.
You can still actually get to the page with most of them. And once again, internet. That's like one of the only ones of my reviews that is like destroyed and unlinked. But he gave me all the backups and copies. If I ever wanted to put it on a website, I could. So that's pretty cool. But the thing is, yeah, Golgo 13 was one of those things that kind of blindsided you. Because, you know, we all grew up with Ninja Scroll and this, that, and the other. We were no strangers to some violence in our anime. But when it came to a modern-day take on it, Golgo 13 was quite the mixed bag. I mean... You would have adventures where it's just so over the top and just so unreasonably cool, but at the same time so unfeasible, it kind of breaks your brain a little. Like I just brought up...
There really wasn't anyone that was more, in a lot of ways, just both awesome and terrible than Golgo 13. He was completely emotionless, but he always got paid, and he always did his job, and he never lost. He was like the original John Cena. He never lost. And every couple of episodes, of the OVAs or the movies or even the TV show that came out a few years ago, he'd always get whatever woman he wanted. The prototypical emotionless anime badass kind of started and finished with Go-Go 13. And again, this has been going on since like 1968. So yeah, this is one of those long-running manga, and in a lot of ways, Go-Go 13 is really one of those characters that was really timeless. I mean, dim eyebrows. I mean, before anybody had the eyebrows, Go-Go 13 had the eyebrows. And
Shiro, eat your heart out.
No kidding.
You're already dead.
And now it's just like this is another one of those things that a generation from now is just going to be like lost in history. Like, people were talking about how Naruto ended and was like, oh my god, it's my childhood, I'm so old now. Man, y'all really don't know about Go-Go 13. How do you imagine people that grew up with Go-Go 13 must feel? Jack, did you ever check out Go-Go 13? Sorry, AW, go ahead.
They probably feel like people who grew up without Fist of the North Star. When I look at them like they're crazy when they brag about Dragon Ball Z, I'm like, you didn't grow up with Fist of the North Star, did you?
Not just Fist of the North Star. I'm thinking. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jack. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I really don't think that these people should be thinking about such a mediocre anime for, oh my god, we're so old, when first off, they're 18. Secondly, Naruto's mediocre at best, and most of the time a 2 out of 10. And finally, they should be thinking more along the lines of Pokemon, because that's really long running, and when that eventually ends, which it eventually will have to, at least the anime will have to.
What do you think would happen with the end of it's honestly, I don't see Pokemon ever ending. I got to go with AW on this one, because how do you end Pokemon?
You don't end the series. I mean the anime. Eventually, the anime is going to have to end, because they're going to realize that it's going to be too much effort to keep trying to pull in every single Pokemon that they're designing. So, you know, to have like a special episode for each one, or for a whole set of evolutions, eventually it's going to catch up to them, and they're going to go, okay, can't do it anymore. It's not worth it anymore. So I have a feeling how that's going to end. Ash is going to throw the Pokeball down. You're going to see his giant hairy beard guy, and he's just going to go, that's fucking it. That's it. I'm done. I've been 10 for so many years. I never got to tap that.
Now, tap that referring to whom? Which one?
All of them!
You're going to get some mail.
AW. I want you, if your internet is still gonna allow us, tell me how you would end the Pokemon anime.
There's only 2 things that can end the Pokemon anime. One, they finally grow Ash up, and he used Lick on Misty's Cloyster so that he can squirtle on her Jigglypuffs. And of course,
I don't know what that means. I don't understand any of that. I'm sorry.
Please graphically describe that in numerological terms.
I am going to beat your ass until it's Bulbasaur. You freaking pervert.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't understand understand anything that they're saying. But keep going, man. Keep going.
Pokemon anymore.
Either that, or the second way they can end it is let Ash finally win a dang competition. As long as it's been going on, this fool has not won anything. Let him win something. Let him get a trophy, and then end it. But since there's going to keep being Pokemon games, start it with a new character. So that way, the anime won't be Pokemon, but it'll be Pokemon subtitle. So it'll be a whole other Pokemon series without
like
Ash.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
That's the only way they can end it. Give us a whole new character.
Like Yu-Gi-Oh! You know what would be interesting is if they started following...
Like
what would be interesting is if they started following your rival, because you know eventually they'd start another Pokemon anime, and it'd probably be following... it'd be following Blue or Gary Oak, as many people know him. Or maybe, what would be interesting, if they wanted to do a spin-off, is Team Rocket.
Even better.
Follow a Team Rocket.
I think you guys are forgetting. I think you guys are forgetting one important thing, and that would be the final official confirmation that Giovanni is in fact Ash's father. I think that's the important thing.
Right? Well, there's also another
thought it was
theory
pretty-
about that.
I think what needs to happen is that Ash has finally won his tournament. He goes home back to Pallet Town, and then there's his mom, and then like from the back door of the house in Pallet Town, all of a sudden Giovanni shows up, and he's like, "Son, you done good. I'm proud of you."
You done good.
And then they all just have a big family group hug, and everybody's happy. And
then Meowth comes up
eventually-
and shouts, "Meowth, that's right!"
and then all of a sudden, instead of Misty, Ash ends up going on a date with Brock because Fujoshi.
Wow.
Oh, goo, I so
There
love
are 3 things that I do
fishy.
want to happen.
End of
Seriously,
core stuff right there.
I
Well,
think we're
think
forgetting
about
that
it.
this was about Golgo 13.
Well, think about it. Who else has been with Ash longer than Brock? Who else?
Pikachu.
Pikachu.
No, no.
Stop.
See,
Stop right there. Stop right
we're-
there.
we're-
I will
Next
beat
story.
you with fists of Registeel.
Yes, you're all
Next
confused.
story.
You didn't like Pokemon.
But there's one thing that I think they should do though, as far as the anime and the games go. If
Let
you read
it
the
go.
there's this manga
Let
called
it go.
Pokemon Reburst, where they fuse and turn into Pokemon and stuff. I know it
You
sounds
mean
crazy.
Mystery Dungeon?
No, it's called Pokemon Rebirth.
It sounds a lot like what happens in Mystery Dungeon.
Pokemon Kiss
Not really
X's.
Mystery Dungeon. It's kind of more like Digimon.
My
Season
little
4.
sister can't be this Jigglypuff.
Oh,
It's kind of more like Digimon Season 4, where they fuse and turn into Digimon. It's
You
kind of more
lost
like.
me.
So they should do that with the game in the anime eventually.
that's getting a little too fanficky
That's
for me,
really-
and that could go in
that's
a
really obscure.
dark place.
Just
It-
look it up.
it's sad that
That
they
shit
never
pretty good. I thought it was
introduced-
gonna be stupid, but look it up. It's pretty good.
I was really sad because I actually read the Pokemon Yellow manga, and I was really sad that Yellow never showed up at all, because Yellow is most likely, if you've ever read the manga, he's most likely Giovanni's son, because they're both from Viridian Forest. And they can both talk to Pokemon and communicate with them, and Giovanni's being a douche about it, and Yellow's just like, I'm a hippie with a straw hat, so I'm basically Luffy, but a little quieter, because I'm actually calm. So...
Yeah, why hasn't anybody ever just gotten Monkey D. Luffy some Ritalin? That would probably take care of a lot of things.
You have to
Do they
catch him
have
first.
Ritalin in the Grand Line?
You have to catch him first, and that's going to be real hard with the snapback.
That's a fair point.
I'm convinced.
Guys,
I'm convinced that
I
even
think
Luffy
it's-
on Ritalin would still be as hyper as Bun Clay. He still would at least be as hyper as Bun Clay.
Jesus Christ.
where have we gone? From Coco 13 all the way back around.
Oh,
Guys, we're
deem
so
me adequate.
professional. We
Oh,
are
Are we
deem
gonna
me
do-
adequate.
Are we going to do some Who Would Wins next, or?
It's about to get so much worse. It's about to get
Yay!
so much
hilarious on
worse.
Lobster and Coco.
I know I've seen it.
Because we have an otaku poll, you guys.
No.
We have an otaku poll. As we record this, it is February 14th, Valentine's Day for all of the Valentines out there. And, of course, Crunchyroll put up a poll that came from Tokyo, reporting from otaku, male and female, as to which anime and manga characters would they like to get Valentine's Day chocolate from. And topping the poll and pretty much taking all of the top 10, Love Live, 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 and Asuna from Sword Art Online.
Do any of them have breasts at all?
Well, no, I mean, it's Japan.
So these are
Whoa,
Japanese.
what is
okay,
this?
that makes sense.
I don't even know this, and I watch everything.
David, I demand you put up the picture of the thing I put in the chat, the lust character from Criminal Girls, to balance
You
this out.
know what? I can do this. This is going to be full-on reaction photo. We're all going to see this together. And hello, YouTube terms and regulations. We might get another strike from this one.
I'm so sorry.
Giggity, giggity.
For the sake
That's
of my
lust.
younger fan base, I
That's
refuse to.
lust.
Has someone been spanking her front butt there? Because it's getting kind of red and polished. You need to
They
stop.
actually made a comment about that. That was what I was thinking the whole time. She's just got 2 giant zits on her chest that can't be comfortable. I've had a zit there once.
Target practice.
But she says, "My skin's so sensitive. Look how red it is." And then the guy just kind of goes, "Whatever," because he's my favorite kind of protagonist. He doesn't speak, there's no voice acting for him, and he gives no fucks, except for, "Hey, I want to get out of here as much as they do, because this is hell, goddammit."
Now, AW. What can be said about, one, Love Live doing a near clean sweep for a Valentine's Day otaku poll? Again, male and female, and, well, that.
Well, first of all, I watch lots of anime. I have no idea what Love Live is. Sue me.
This is what I asked about a couple of weeks ago. I wanted to know just what the hell is Love Live, and why the hell has it taken over, like K-On! or Lucky Star did a few years ago. Chris, have you ever heard of Love Live?
No, but I'm looking at it, and I know why. I'm just looking at it. It is just hitting all the triggers for the lowest common denominator. I mean, you got your idols. You've got your high school girls, you got your high school romances, you've got your hoye. So yeah, I can see where all the triggers are done.
Problem. They're not in high school. There's no way any of them are in high school. I'm sorry, David. There's just no way. They are not old enough.
Japan, you guys. Japan. Rolling down.
Japan,
Who do you want to give Valentine's Day chocolates to? Again, Love Live, all the way down to number 10 where we had Asuna from Sword Art Online. It was exactly the same until we get finally to somebody in the female rankings where they actually had some. They had some from Free. They had one from Gintama, from Prince of Tennis. Whatever, and Utana no Prince Sama. Guys, seriously, this is a problem. This is a very serious problem, and now it's getting to the point where it's not just the stereotypical male otaku. I stress this again. These were also the female top 10 rankings for Love Live. This is a problem. I mean, you see all these news stories every once in a while about Japan, they're not producing more population. Japan's population is dropping. Nobody wants to have sex. Nobody wants to make babies. Jack, this is just getting worse and worse and worse because this is bad, Jack Quellen. It really is.
I don't know what to say. Because, well, first off, it's Japan, so I assumed, but I had such high hopes for humanity, because there's not a single...
And yet, at the same time, you're playing this game with a character called Lust that has
She's
these
not called Lust.
giant...
She's not called Lust.
She represents lust. She represents lust. And she has these giant chesticles. Just straight up quadruple D-sized chesticles. And yet, Japan, they can't figure out, putting 2 and 2 together to make
2Ds.
Population.
They can't put 2 Ds together, man.
2D waifu is best waifu.
No, 3D. 3D waifu is best waifu.
Today's Anime A3K podcast has been brought to you by the letter 36 and the number double D.
I'm looking at this list.
Waifu is better because there's a little game I have called Conception 2.
Oh my god, don't talk about this now. We'll talk about this later when I play it. No spoilers, bro.
I'm just saying, in 3D, it works a lot better.
Wait, can I just say what I have a problem.
Yep.
Go ahead, Jack. You have the floor.
No, I was just realizing that's gonna be the next one on my list. There's gonna always be more niche JRPGs with women's in them that wile and beguile, and I'm not even the demographic. I have a problem.
But that's the thing.
You remind me a lot of the former vice president of my website. She was a girl who played all the guy dating games.
Oh,
and it was fun.
That's Lily, guys. That's Lily. My Nanashi. She's exactly the same way. She's
okay.
just.
Okay, good. I'm glad it's not just me. I have my reasons.
I will say to anyone out there, hey, how you doing? I am Team 3D Waifu, because Team 3D Waifu is best waifu because they're soft and supple.
You can actually touch them, you know?
Yes. Maybe they've forgotten that, which makes even less sense because they have all of those cuddling clubs where you can go and cuddle for 90 minutes. And then you're like, oh yeah, 3D waifu, human contact, warmth. Come on, Japan.
I'm going to say
you can't get warmth from 2D waifu. You cannot get warmth from 2D waifu.
I had to just it so planned.
I'm going to say that it kind of makes sense that all the female otaku picked a bunch of girly girls that have zero chest, because this is something that Cody often talks about, is that when you're a nerd and you don't get companion because you're a nerd and a shut-in, you become gay just because that's an easier way to make you... That would be a way to make you more open to companionship, so you become like bi or gay, and that gives you more availability. So
I know way too many people in my real life that follow that pattern. Too many people in my real life.
It happens. And guys, I just want to say this right now. I love the dudes. I'm actually really sad that there's no like God, I'm trying to think off of the top of my head. I would love to have seen anybody from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure up on that list. But then again, I'm American, so I like the big guys. So whatever.
Wait, hold on. This comes from Japan, and there's women doing this too. Are you telling me no woman, nowhere, pick anybody from the man-servicey free Eternal Summer anime? Nobody.
No, they picked free.
All the
there was one. There was one from free. There was
that's
one.
That's just typical. Is it the main guy? Because if it's the main guy, then it's typical.
It was the main guy.
It's probably
told you. The most boring one, because they're Japanese. Sorry.
Because it's Japan and they love their protagonists with absolutely no personality.
I vote Gogo 13 #1 on A3K's list for getting Valentine chocolate.
Seconded.
Second, Lupin.
Right ahead of Bayonetta, because hey, Bayonetta, am I right?
Oh dang.
Oh
wait.
Can we throw in a vote for Bayonetta?
Oh no.
I mean,
the problem is both of them would just give you the chocolate in steel jacket cases.
Totally worth it.
Yeah,
totally worth it.
It blooms right in your mouth.
If we're going video games, not to mention Juliet Starling from Lollipop Chainsaw. That is beautiful.
Going video games, nobody gets higher up on the tier than Valentina. Just doesn't.
Now, I wouldn't say I know anything about having a threesome in my lifetime, but that would be quite the interesting drawing or fanfic. Bayonetta and Juliet from Lollipop Chainsaw. I'm just
doing
saying.
a reverse Eiffel Tower on GoGo 13.
Yes.
You know, I'm looking at this last time. There's no mention of Rei Asuka from the Justice Evangelion. What is this? The first time that's ever happened ever in Japan?
Wow.
I'm so glad we're moving. I'm so glad people are moving on from Asuka. I hated her. She's
insufferable. Yep. She's positively that bitch that everybody knows. That always talks shit about you. I had to deal with that this week. I know what it's like.
Straight up catch you next Tuesday, everybody. Asuka is a catch you next Tuesday. That's what she is. And But before I start getting really angry, we're going to move on to something that actually might be kind of cool.
Yay!
And Attack on Titan, guys. Remember Attack on Titan?
It's a thing. People like or hate.
It is a thing that only AW is not a fan of. Literally, only AW is the only one left in the world that is still hating on Attack on Titan.
I just can't get
You're
into
the
it.
only one, dude. I'm telling you, you're the only one.
I tried. I
It's
tried. I can't make myself like it.
You know the old saying, is it just me? Yes, AW. I'm sorry, it's just you.
you.
Yes, it's just me.
But something that came out a couple of days ago that actually seemed pretty cool. Capcom, keep your fingers crossed, everybody, that Capcom is introducing an Attack on Titan arcade game. It was announced at Japan Amusement Expo that Capcom is developing an arcade game for Attack on Titan. And there was a phrase that said, sacrifice your heart. And I gotta say, if Capcom has any sense, ... this will make its way to the US as well, because Attack on Titan is as popular here in the Western world as it was in Japan. Everyone knows Capcom makes terrible decisions as far as what games people want and how to make money.
I'm
This
seeing
just
this
seems
as a
like a
Nintendo
no-brainer.
3DS game.
It is not a no-brainer.
Mine is Monster Hunter.
Chris?
Monster Hunter they did good with.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is cost prohibitive. Arcade games, especially since they're not as prevalent here in America, they've just fallen off the deep end. And the perfect Attack on Titan game would be a lot like their Biohazard game, that would actually seal you in and you had a gun and you were turning around and doing everything. Think how cool it would be if you had that same technology. I don't know if you even know what I'm talking about, because I saw these in Vegas some years ago. But they were very cool. They were Biohazard games, and you'd seal the doors, and it was pretty much kind of a VR 360 thing. You go around, you go shooting zombies and everything. Very cool concept. Very small kind of.
So
VR.
like an on-rail shooter?
Yeah, it was
know
an
what
on-rail
you're
shooter,
talking
but
about.
360
You
degrees.
know, I can honestly say I could totally see Attack on Titan as an on-rail game. I
That
can
would be so
totally
cool.
see that.
Because
No,
I've
but
seen
Resident
ones like Sword of the
Evil,
Samurai and stuff like that. You could still use that technology for sword swinging, but then comes the cost.
Yeah.
Cost of shipping, cost of chipboards, cost of hardware, cost of getting interest in the very sparse arcade market here.
There are not a lot of
always-
Japanese games unless and the Capcom ones, they do make it over, but they're just Marvel vs. Capcom. You don't ever see like a Final Fight machine in here. I remember when we used to have a Blaze Blue machine when Continuum Shift was new, and then they got rid of it. That is not an easy
And
thing
that's the
to
thing,
market
all
to
the
America.
Blaze Blues were all Japanese style because there was no reason to translate anything. There was no reason to translate anything because too few places would have them.
It was a Japanese import machine too.
And they can always port it. They can always
No.
port it to a console and throw it on the eShop to keep costs down, or Xbox Live or something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that if this does well, do you think it could be ported to consoles?
I think almost definitely, if it is portable, as in not just portable, as in.
I mean, with
gaming.
things like the PlayStation Move and the Kinect, I suppose, and even going so far as to maybe say like the Oculus, or with just things happening in the next year or two, I would think that if Capcom, well, again, it's Capcom, this is something that could potentially work, and it could be ported to consoles. I could see it if it is something like an on-rail game. It's definitely feasible, and with Attack on Titan's next season apparently being set for 2016, this could be a full media blitz that could work out really well. I really
That would
think it
make
could.
it really big. That would be really incredible. The problem, I think, though, is that
Oh, and you know,
motion
if
controls
there
are
are
tough.
if there are conventions out there that could try and bring this arcade machine to their conventions,
all
because
the money.
conventions will always have those kind of mech fighters and all that kind of stuff. If there's a convention out there that could be the first to say we've got the first Attack on Titan arcade game here in America, that would be
all
That
the
would be
money.
all of the hype. That would be
All the
all
money.
of the hype. And again, since Capcom doesn't seem to like doing things like releasing Mega Man for people, this could finally give them some way to make a little bit of money. If Capcom wants to do that. I don't
To
know.
make up for DiCaprio.
I hope so. If they take the cheaper route, if they make a smaller arcade game that could be ported, yeah, I could see that because the numbers don't lie. But they've ignored the numbers in the past, so flip the coin.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the thing. They
There's all
ignore
kind of
the numbers.
for
That's the
Mega
thing
Man.
that really doesn't make sense at all.
It's a real crapshoot when it comes to Capcom.
Am I the only one who remember how hype everybody was for Mega Man Legends 3 that never happened?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I had
I
all
kind
of
of bought the
those
3DS
on
hoping for that,
PlayStation.
and I'm like, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Remember when there was only one Final Fight available for purchase anywhere?
Ugh.
Anywhere?
Uh,
Anywhere?
How does that
Including
happen?
the digital market.
remember how Asura's Wrath was really, really fun and had some really fun DLC, but never got anything else?
Remember Killer 7? That was good.
Remember
All
the
right, enough
90s?
about Capcom. Enough. Let's.
Killer 7 was. It was Suda 51 and Grasshopper, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That technically
Yeah.
counts as.
It was Capcom released, yes.
Yeah.
I'll say it counts. It's a business decision that was
Yeah, but,
proper.
you know, Grasshopper and Suda,
It's-
they do their own thing.
Bro, it's in like the Capcom Encyclopedia, which I freely admit to having because hell yeah, Capcom. Ascot.
Objection.
For the audio listeners, that's Jack D doing a fantastic Miles Edgeworth. For the audio
That
listeners,
should be the
complete
thumbnail.
with the ascot. Now, I just wanted to say, to show again my old man cred, I wanted to throw this one around, and let's just wax nostalgic just a little bit. And I wanted to ask you guys, since this is an anime podcast, or so I'm told, what was Chris? We'll throw this around the horn. We'll start with Chris. If you can think back to what was the first anime series that you knew that you truly, truly loved. That was the one that made you fall in love with the Japanimation.
I've actually got an article coming down the pipe, so I won't go too deep into certain aspects of this, but the thing that
Well, then
turned
by
me
all
over-
means, give us a tease.
Well, the thing that turned me over, I'm actually in that article. I'm actually talking about like the first anime you really owned, really just took to your bosom. But this is what kind of triggered me off. I started off the first anime I can say that this is anime and I've seen it was a story called Lensman. Lensman is not good, as I recall. The Mystery Anime Theater 3000 actually did a big to do of it at several Otakons ago. Otakon ago. And it's not good. But just the visuals and everything just did that for me. But that was just the start. You know, I look at some Rama 1/2, I'd see, you know, the other little bits, but the thing that just drilled into my head that said, I'm going to watch anime forever was Project A-ko.
Project
Very nice.
A-ko.
Project A-ko
Choice.
was just one of those things.
And this was the show. Where did you first watch it? How did you discover it?
Well, I need to talk to my son for a second. What's up, buddy?
Oh, fair enough. While Dean the Adequate deals with the Little Adequate, Jay Quellen, what was the first anime, the first one that you saw and was just like, this anime stuff is awesome, and I love this show, and I'm all the way in?
Who, me?
Jack?
Live
That's you, Jay Quellen.
Live video. Fine. So, you know, started out like everybody did. Oh my gosh, what is Toonami? It comes on right after class when I get home from being a little terror to a lot of underpaid educators. And I said, what is this? Sailor Moon? Card Captors? And being completely off kilter like I am, I didn't really latch onto it. In fact, that Halloween that I first was introduced into it, I wanted to be dressed up as Queen Beryl instead of any of the Sailor Scouts.
Oh, you were so the coolest girl in the school then. You so would have been the coolest girl in the school. It's not
Oh,
even
man.
close.
Queen Bee, man. But I never really got super into anime until I saw things like Hellsing and Black Blood Brothers and Vampire Hunter D. Meanwhile, reading manga such as Yotsuba and Azumanga Daioh. So I had a really interesting kind of reconciliation with this. Of there are stories that are animated and they're different from Disney and they look different. They're more angular and they don't move around as much and they're dark and scary and monsters happen. Can I please? Can I always have this to my heart? And I fell
And
out
there were
from
actual stories that would go from one episode to the next and actually continue on.
right instead of these one-offs like things like Fairly Odd Parents or Rocco. You know, things like, and I mean, I did watch King of the Hill when I was a kid. I'm just the weirdest child. So that kind of had an arc, but I realized this was different from King of the Hill. I realized that Boy Ain't Right and that Alucard Alexander, yes, absolutely, always with the darkness and the moons and the terror. And then I fell out for a few years, and but I came back to it in late high school years, and it was with shonen like Blue Exorcist and Soul Eater and a lot of comedic stuff, because a lot of funny stuff was coming out because Japan realized that they were actually funny when they tried hard, with Cromartie High and Cuticle Detective Inaba. And then, of course, Hellsing Ultimate came out, and that was even better, because that was like taking something already delicious, like a delicious chocolate chip cookie, and covering it in dark chocolate, which I have about 6 of in a bag over there. It's Valentine's Day.
AW Brawler, what was your first true anime love? What was that one show that had you hooked?
Okay, this one requires a little bit of an explanation, because I was big on Voltron and Astro Boy, but had no idea they were anime. Who was an anime when I was watching it, and I said I want more of this, was Ronin Warriors. Ryo of the
Good
Wildfire,
choice.
Kento of Hard Rock, Ronin. Loved Ronin
Sage
Warriors.
of the Halo,
Kento was my
sir.
favorite one.
I was a fan of
I used to
Sage
come-
of the Halo, so I totally
I
get
used to
it.
go to this. I used to go to like this summer camp thing where a bus would come pick me up when I was young. I don't really remember what was going on. And when I get back from arts and craft and stuff, at the end of the day, I come home and I just rush to the room, and my 3 brothers, I'd rather, it's starting. And when you just sit there and watch Running Warriors and see Toppa, I come to claim your armor, Ryo of the Wildfire. And that was just what did it for me. And then Yu Yu Hakusho really was the nail in the coffin, where I said, I want to watch this stuff always. But I did get into an action overload with S-Cry Ed and Dragon Ball Z. So what really kept me in anime is all these crazy slice of life and comedies like Wallflower, School Rumble, Honey and Clover, those type of shows. Like even now, one of my favorite shows is Tribe Called Crew, because I like goofy, quirky anime like that. But it's definitely Ronin Warriors and Yu Yu Hakusho that really got me into it.
Very, very cool. Do you know the theme song to Yu Yu Hakusho? Because if the day ever comes, I plan on singing karaoke to that song with somebody.
Yes. If you mean know it in English, I know it in English and I know it in Japanese. Which one are you talking about?
It would be the English version for me, because I have friends that all love Yu Yu Hakusho, and kind of our karaoke song is that song. So that's going to be one in my convention travels, if it ever comes. That's going to be my karaoke song. Dean the Adequate, coming back to you.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead, Dean.
Well, yeah. As I recall, I was talking about Project A-ko and the lead up to that.
Mm-hmm.
you pointed out, yeah, I mean, I started off as a kid. I was a robot kid. I loved robots. I liked, back in the day, the Transformers. I had, like, so many Transformers, but only the good guys, because I was weird. But I liked Transformers, I liked Robotech, I liked all that stuff growing up. But coming to Project A-ko, when I saw the variety of stuff that was happening in that show, it was just so over the top and so different. That's when it kind of clicked. It said, okay, I gotta get this. I gotta take charge. I gotta start learning more. So I started buying Animerica. I started looking into this, and there's a lot in Project A-ko for a 12, 13-year-old boy, because it came out in like '92, I think, and it started showing up on the airwaves about '93, '94. So yeah, you're a preteen. That's what's going to hook you. You're going to get hooked into that, or you're going to get hooked into horror films, or you're going to get hooked into something that kind of bridges that teenage gap. And that's why I always stuck with it, because anime, for at least that time period, it kept growing with me. There was always this cool stuff. As I grew up, it grew up with me. And I found in 2006 it kind of stagnated, but that's just my opinion.
I guess it's my turn, and I'm just going to go ahead and say that I think for even my entire anime fandom, I've always been a hipster. I always have been. Going all the way back to the days of when Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon were still on syndication here on Channel 50 here in Detroit. I didn't really like Dragon Ball. And I didn't really like Sailor Moon because it came on at 7:30, and The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog came on at 8, and I had to leave for school at 8, so I missed Sonic because of Sailor Moon. So that really made me hate Sailor Moon for a while, because it would make me miss Sonic the Hedgehog. But sometime in like early 1995, UPN became the new network on the scene, and they had this Sunday morning lineup called UPN Kids, and they had this show. They had this show that changed my world and changed everything I thought I knew about anime. It had this incredible opening theme song that I still love to this day, and it was a completely Americanized theme song. It wasn't the original one, and the name of the show was Techno Man. Very few people out there really remember this show, other than me and maybe 4 other people out there, because I've always been an anime hipster. It was a space drama with a young guy named Slade taking on the Space Knights and the evil Venomoids in the year 2087, and there was drama, and it went only 26 episodes, so I never really saw the ending because it just went to repeating over and over again, and it was really, really awful. But once I eventually did get to see it, it was this incredibly wonderful, dark space drama that had people dying and memory loss and just all this intense stuff, and it had Slade, the main character, transforming with this energy crystal, which I swear was nothing like Sailor Moon, so shut up. And he had this amazing warrior armor, and it was in space, and there were robots, and that was like the first anime I really, really loved. And that really set the tone for everything for me. I love technology. I love computers. I love space. I love the internet. I love sci-fi. And I eventually discovered Gundam Wing. During the big boom where everyone was watching Dragon Ball Z, I was the one kid with a Gundam Wing t-shirt. Again, total hipster cred. Just, I can't help myself. It was Gundam Wing. It was Big O. It was... to a degree, Outlaw Star, and eventually finding shows like Ghost in the Shell. And me, because I just can't help myself, I really love like the really crazily pretentious shows like Ergo Proxy, because I like to think I'm smarter than everyone else, and I'm really not. But those are the kind of shows I really like, because I'm just... but it all started with Techno Man, when everyone else was into Dragon Ball and eventually Dragon Ball Z, and Sailor Moon for me, and unfortunately nobody else in my neighborhood, none of the other kids saw this show, and it was just like the coolest show ever, and it was called Techno Man, and that was the one that started it. So if nothing else, go and YouTube the theme song for Techno Man. It was the original show was called Tekkaman Blade. It was based on a 1978 anime called Tekkaman, and this was the sequel, Tekkaman Blade. But go ahead and go onto YouTube and YouTube the theme song to Techno Man, and it will be stuck in your head forever. And it was awesome.
Why did they switch the name to
Go ahead,
Techno
AW.
Man when it came over here? I remember
Saban.
Tekken Man very well. I even fought with him on Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. Why did they switch the name to Techno?
it was-
They think that it sound cool?
Because it was the mid-90s, and companies back then still really didn't know what to do with anime, by and large. Just
It
they
was
really
it was
didn't know.
Saban Enterprises, the same people who did Power Rangers. They figured that re-upping and changing some of the things for American audiences would not only get past FCC standards, but at the same time be more subject to syndication.
They're eating a lot of jelly donuts.
And that's what it was. It kind of got syndicated, but it never really finished. It only went 26 episodes, even though the actual series was like 50.
Well, Media Blasters did put out the
I
uncut.
already knew what you were talking about.
Yes, they did, and it was wonderful. I totally loved it. But
I don't think you're showing
guys,
enough love of Mech, David. I don't think you're showing nearly enough love for Mech. You seem pretty lukewarm about it.
yeah, I'm not too into the sci-fi or the mech stuff. So, but before I start ranting about that, let's just jump into the takeaway. Christopher Kinsey, thanks for joining us. If you've got anything you want to tell us you're up to online, this is the point. Go ahead, plug your wares, my good sir.
There's not much that I do nowadays. I just started doing the A3K thing for you guys, and that's my big thing. I have old stuff. If you want to look at old stuff I've done, I have a Twitter under Dean the Adequate, at Dean the Adequate. There's a YouTube, also user Dean the Adequate. And if you want to check those out, feel free. I used to do this thing called 180 seconds because my camera would only record 180 seconds of video at the time. So it was an interesting exercise.
Can I call you Dean the Outstanding?
No, because I haven't
you've
done
been
that. There's a nerdy story behind my handle, and you can't. I didn't get enough levels.
Fair enough. Dean the Adequate it is. AW Brawler, I know you've got a Twitch stream. What else do you have going on?
I also have the YouTube channel going on. I just have a new group of videos that I've just titled For No Reason. That's the name of it. For No Reason. And also...
A-Dub?
You can do it. You can do it. Don't do it.
A new story from Corner Squad.
But I have my own website.
One more time, AW. One more time. One more time.
I said I'm also bringing my website back because it's been down for a while, so I'm slowly bringing it back up. So once I get it back up and ready like I want to be, I'm going to start doing a lot more things with that. Because right now the only thing I'm really doing with the site is just articles and blogs because I'm still getting a new crew back together.
And that website is?
Well, I'd rather not give the handle for it because it's kind of broken right now, but it is estranged. So it'll be estranged.net when I publish it.
Estranged.net. Estranged.net. A.W. Brawler? E-stranged.net.
It's kind of play on the word estranged because I always find the most obscure estranged anime.
Oh,
Man
boy,
after my
does
own
he
heart.
ever.
A man after my own heart. And see, AW, we went through this entire episode without one Milky Holmes joke. I kept my word.
Yeah,
Kept my word.
Dang it. Mention Milky Holmes, dang it. Milky.
Kept my word.
Cordelia.
Jay
I
Quellen.
want to mention Cordelia.
See, I was trying to be nice, you guys. I was trying to be nice.
He tried.
I was trying not to put AW on blast this episode. I was doing my best not to put AW on blast this episode. I was trying to be a gentleman, trying to be a good host. Try my best.
But see, the environment I grew up in, if you don't mock me, I feel like you don't care about me. So you got to mock the Milky Holmes.
I'm welcoming you with open arms. I'm following the Ring of Honor Code of Honor. I'm extending my
Now,
hand.
David.
No judgment. This is like Planet Fitness. Judgment-free zone here, AW. Judgment-free zone.
Now, David, you should know that a true gentleman must never talk shit unless he knows he is about to get hit. And that is...
And that is none other than the incomparable Jack D. Tyler D. Jay Quellen, what have you got going on?
Oh boy, this is going to be a long weekend for me because right after this, I'm going to attempt a first live draw. And it's funny that we mentioned the incomparable and curvaceous Bayonetta and a dear, dear friend of mine, Juliet Starling of Lollipop Chainsaw fame, because I will be drawing the two of them for Valentine's Day very, very wifely. And I'm not going to spoil what they are going to be doing and who the other two guests are that I will be drawing. But
can you give us a hint? Because it sounds saucy.
They are extremely temperamental. And I have a feeling that somebody is going to get smashed very, very hard.
Giggity, giggity. And follow Jack on Twitter, @JackDTylerD, won't you?
I'll be posting the link if there's going to be a live link there. If there's not, I'll just post the video link. We're going to find out together how good I am at actually posting live. So this will be a fun...
Live internet, everybody. Live internet. As for me, I have podcasts at DeltaJulietMike.com. The Nanashi Anime Podcast, Shooting the Shit with Two Nerdy Black Guys, Fanny Pack Wrestling. You might even see some people from this very A3K network on some of those shows in the not-too-distant future at DeltaJulietMike.com. This has been the A3K Podcast. Thank you for tuning in for episode 106. For Christopher Kinsey, for Jay Quellen, NAW Brawler, my name is David Majors, and we will see you next time.
Happy Valentine's Day. Objection!
Goodbye.
I'm buying you all chocolates because I love you all.
That makes my heart go doki doki.
Oh, good.
Watashi wa nato ashite.